All right, so first off, excuse me. I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. All right, so this video we're going to go into Daniel, but now we're going to go into Daniel chapter 7. And we're back here in the King James, the KJV, all right, which we're reading this because we brought up the subject matter is the beasts, or are the beasts. All right, a few videos ago, before the readings, we went into, or the videos were titled The Beasts, but first, Daniel chapter 2. All right, we went over the breakdown of Daniel chapter 2. We went over the readings of Daniel chapter 2. And now we're going to go into Daniel 7. Okay? So, let's go ahead and start with the reading. The summary of Daniel. Hold on. Okay. 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 This is Daniel, the 7th chapter. Then the summary is short and sweet. All right. It says Daniel's vision of 4 beasts. It says of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai's kingdom. And then it says the interpretation thereof. All right. So it reads, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. All right. So he had a vision presented to him through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. As we went over in the first videos, all right, speaking of the beasts, but first Daniel chapter 2, all right, we went over the verse that spoke about, all right, in your sleep, all right, that's when the Lord seals instruction, but he also gives these visions, all right. So verse 2 of Daniel chapter 7, it says, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. All right. Speaking of the Mediterranean Sea and the areas around that. All right. It says, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from one another, or diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. All right. So I do have this. And this is speaking of the Assyrian Empire. So let's as soon as this laptop starts up, I'll tell you what I'm about to look up here is the damn, what was that? A griffin, okay? If you know what that is. But let me go ahead and pull up the image of this griffin really quickly here. All right. uh all right, so if I can, I'm going to well, let me read what it says here now. I typed in Assyrian Empire and the Griffin, okay? AI overview says the Assyrian Empire featured griffins or griffin like creatures in its art and mythology, with examples found on ivories and sculptures such as the well modeled head discovered in Nimrud. I don't know how to pronounce Nimrud. It says these winged lion-like creatures symbolized power, strength, and guardianship. Although griffins appear in earlier Sumerian myths, such as the Anzu bird, they became prominent in the Tigris and Euphrates region, influencing later cultures like ancient Egypt, Greece, and Persia, and even leaving their mark on the art of the Achaemenid Persian Empire. All right, and I could read more on that, but I'm gonna leave that there. I just wanted to show, okay, what a griffin is, just in case you don't know. Hold on a second. All right, so this thing here, griffin, okay. Now this thing here, which we're gonna bring up later, is called a lamassu. All right, as you can see, it's the same body as a griffin, okay, because of the next empire that is going to take hold, right, which is the Babylonian. All right, Babylonians absorbed the Assyrian Empire, okay, which you see up here. Remember the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had seen? It was the gold head. All right, so let's read a little bit more because I don't want to go too far before we get to that in the verses. All right, but as you can see here, the griffin. All right, okay. Okay, so I just wanted to show that really quick. Let's do some more reading. And then we'll show some more. All right, so verse 4 still, I'll start at the top. It says was the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. All right, that is the time of the Babylonian Empire coming and absorbing the Assyrian Empire and taking over. Okay. You'll hear purple. You'll hear certain people. Certain people will say just Babylonian Empire. Certain people call it the Assyrian Babylonian Empire. All right. So again, verse 4: the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth. All right, giving more power. All right, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. All right, we read in Daniel 2 back here where Daniel was explaining to the king, to Nebuchadnezzar, all right, that he is that head of gold. All right. Okay. Daniel 2 and 36, it says, this is a dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Verse 37 of Daniel 2 says, thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the power of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. All right, now hold on for a second. All right, yeah, I think that's... Let me read 38 now, Daniel 2 and 38. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. All right. So that's why you have that griffin, okay, given the Babylonian head right there. All right, that head of gold. So let's go back to Daniel 7 here. All right, which is the lamassu. Let me show you that again. All right here. So Lamassu. All right. Now, before I go on, I will go back and type in Babylonian Empire, and the Lamassu. Oops. All right, hold on, because I want to make sure I type this in here right. Lamassu. Yeah. Okay. So hold on a minute. All right, AI overview. While Lamassu statues were prominent guardian figures in the Assyrian Empire, they were not a feature of the Babylonian Empire, though the concept of protective deities like Lamassu from Lama has ancient roots in Mesopotamia. Lamassu served to protect the interests of Assyrian cities and palaces by embodying strength, divine authority, and the power of the king, a role that was later adopted and continued by Persians also. All right, well, all right, Lamassu's. Let me show you. It's popular. Here's one that they have set up in the museum. So hold on. Here's some Lamassu. All right. Here's one that we seen earlier, I believe. All right. That is a Lamassu. Okay. So these beasts are representing these kingdoms. Okay. So let me read 4 again. And the first, speaking of the beast, was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Thereof, excuse me. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Right, verse 5, it says, and behold, speaking of the second one, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. So let's look at this really quickly here. All right, this is speaking of the Medo-Persians. All right. Oops, hold on. All right, so when they seen when these prophets seen these visions, they seen actual beasts. All right, they didn't really understand like we do in this day. All right, so let me go here really quickly. All right, there's a bear with 3 ribs, and the raising up of one side is just speaking of how much the Persians, all right, were more powerful than the Medes. All right, and these 3 ribs represent Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon, because that's who they took down. All right, that's who the Medo-Persian empires took down. They took down Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon. All right, let me see if I can get a map of this. All right, so let's see what it says here now. All right, I went to Google AI, right, and typed in Medo-Persian Empire, Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon, which are the three ribs. The three ribs, again, are Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon. So it goes on to say the Medo-Persian Empire, also known as the Achaemenid Empire, conquered the kingdoms of Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt in the 6th century BCE under its early leaders Cyrus the Great and his son Cambyses II. Okay, it goes on to explain the conquest of Media and Lydia. It says Media, though the Medes and Persians were related peoples, Cyrus the Great of Persia rebelled against his grandfather, the Median king Astyages, in 550 BCE. Cyrus gained the support of the Median army, and after capturing the Median capital of Ecbatana, he consolidated the Medes and Persians into a single unified force. As far as Lydia goes, it says the wealthy king Croesus of Lydia attacked the Persian Empire but was defeated by Cyrus the Great in 547 BCE. Cyrus's army captured the Lydian capital of Sardis after a 14-day siege, incorporating Lydia and its coastal Greek cities into the Persian Empire. The conquest of Babylon. It says, after consolidating his power in the west, Cyrus turned toward the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which was facing internal political turmoil. In 539 BCE, Persian forces led by Cyrus routed the Babylonian army at the Battle of Opis before capturing the city of Babylon without a major fight. All right, it says expansion. It says the conquest of Babylon gave Cyrus control over the city's vast territories in Mesopotamia, Syria, and Palestine. Cyrus also famously liberated it says the Israelite people he held captive in Babylon and allowed them to return to Jerusalem. Conquest of Egypt. It says the conquest of Egypt was completed by Cyrus's son Cambyses II, who led an invasion in 525 BCE, aided by Greek and Arab allies. The Persians defeated the Egyptians at the Battle of Pelusium, capturing Memphis and bringing the country under Persian rule. As far as the pharaoh, says Cambyses crowned himself pharaoh of Egypt, establishing the 27th dynasty. Persian rule over Egypt continued, though it was briefly interrupted by revolts until the arrival of Alexander the Great. And that's something you need to keep in mind also, okay? And also, sometimes this history is muddled, so you need to go back and look at, do your own research and look at this, okay? But the point is, the first beast was the Syrian-Babylonian Empire, right? The second beast was the Medo-Persian Empire, all right? So now we're on to 6, all right? Daniel 7 and verse 6. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, what is this speaking of? First, let's deal with the leopard. All right, let's type in here. Let's get in here and type in. Hold on a second here. Let's get in here. All right, so what is the I don't know, significance with or between Alexander the Great, or the Greek, or the creep. All right, Alexander the uh, let's go down here. All right, it says here's a breakdown of the symbolism. It says the leopard. It says this powerful wild beast is known for its speed, stealth, and agility. It is a symbol of the rapid and expansive nature of Alexander's military campaigns and empire. All right. Let's see. Let's ask this too. All right. Was Alexander known to? Hold on a second here. The significance of the leopard in relation to Alexander the Great stems from two main sources: his emulation of the Greek god Dionysus, who was closely associated with the animal, and the biblical symbolism of the leopard representing Alexander's swift conquest. This dude conquered the whole known world in 12 years, man. Relentless. All right. All right. Wearing the leopard skin. All right. Speaking of Dionysus, was often depicted wearing a leopard or panther skin, riding the animal, or driving a chariot drawn by them. In emulation of this god, Alexander was known to wear leopard skin, sometimes as a blanket for his horse or as a covering for his helmet. All right, let me see. Okay. I just want to make sure I got enough here. There's more stuff you can read on this. All right, symbol of power and status says beyond the connection to Alexander, the leopard was generally used in the ancient world as a symbol of power, status, and royalty, with the skins being worn by rulers, priests, and warriors. This reflects the leopard's status as a wild, powerful, and exotic animal in the ancient Mediterranean. Okay. So what else did it say here in this verse? Verse 6 again of Daniel 7. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. All right, speaking of Alexander and the Greek Empire, which had upon his back, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Okay, so those 4 wings, what are these talking about? When Alexander the Great, all right, at the end of his life, he divided his kingdom among 4 generals, all right, which were Ptolemy, all right, he took over Egypt. Seleucus took over Assyria, or the Assyria, and then Cassander took over Greece. Was it? Let me see. Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucid, Lysimachus. Right, let me look at this, because one of them had Lydia. Hold on a second. Let's see. Ptolemy. I know that was definitely Egypt. Seleucus was definitely Assyria, or the Mediterranean. Hold on. What areas did Ptolemy Seleucid. Lysimachus. And Ptolemy Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Cassander. All right. Let's see what comes up here. All right. It says Ptolemy conquered and consolidated Egypt and its surrounding areas, while Seleucus founded the vast Seleucid Empire controlling Babylonia, Mesopotamia, Persia, and Syria. Lysimachus controlled Thrace and large parts of Asia Minor, and Cassander established rule over Macedonia, Thessaly, and southern Greece. Okay. Let me go ahead and. Man, I wish I could find a bigger map. Man, I'm gonna have to save this page that popped up. Wars of the Diadochi, which means the four. I think it was four generals. I think that's what that means. I will look that up right now just to be sure. What does Diad? Oops. Okay. Hold on. Die. All right. The Diadochi or whatever, however you pronounce it, Diadochi. Plural says were the rival generals, family members, and lieutenants of Alexander the Great who fought for control of his vast empire after his death in 323 BCE. The term comes from the ancient Greek word for successors. All right, the four successors, maybe. Okay. So again, it says Ptolemy I Soter took control of Egypt and founded the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled until the time of Cleopatra. Seleucus I Nicator established the Seleucid Empire in Mesopotamia, Syria, and Persia. Cassander gained control over Macedon and parts of Greece. Lysimachus came to rule Thrace and parts of Asia Minor. All right. So we're also going to look at the Apocrypha for a second here. All right, let me read verse 6 again, Daniel 7:6. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Okay, they ruled the whole known world at that point. So let me go here to the Apocrypha. All right, and I want to go to First Maccabees because it speaks of this. All right. Let me see. First Maccabees. Hold on a second here. Yeah, First Maccabees. All right, hold on. I'll show you the screen. All right, First Maccabees. Okay. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out from the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, which Alexander didn't. Um, he wasn't the one who killed Darius. All right, Darius got assassinated by someone else that was close to him. Okay, and as a matter of fact, Alexander was upset by that and ended up having the one who killed Darius put to death. All right, and it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, which Alexander's father's name is Philip. These are real people, man, in these scriptures. Okay. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Right? They couldn't defeat him. Whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Why couldn't they defeat him? Because it was the Lord that gave him this power to do this. All right, it was prophecy. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. All right. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And I think a lot of this is a lot of history in this one thing, man. I think that history is found in Daniel 11. If you give me a second real here. Give me a second really quick. Just because I want to be sure about that. Yeah, Daniel 11, the summary right here. The overthrow of Persia by the king of Greece, leagues and conflicts between the kings of the south and of the north, the invasion and tyranny of the Romans, which is what's going to be the last beast here. But although there were 4 generals, all right, really the focus is on the king of the south and the kings of the north, which were Ptolemy and Seleucus. Okay. All right. So again, First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 9, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them, and many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. The evils were multiplied because this is the beginning of the Edomites taking hold. All right. All right. They really took hold when the Romans came on the scene. Okay. All right. Verse 10, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus. All right. He came out of the Seleucid Empire. Okay. Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. All right, but as you can see, there's a lot of history, especially in that Daniel 11. Like, hey, the wars of the Diadochi, like we just talked about with that article. Did I even show the article? You can just type in wars of this how it's spelled too. So, World History Encyclopedia, Wars of the Diadochi or Diadochi. All right. All right, so where are we at now in Daniel 7? I think we're on the 7th verse. Let me read 6 again. Daniel 7:6, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, also realizing that there is history in this, this is why we say that the scriptures act as a time clock as such. Okay? Because it explains in the scriptures, all right, later on, that during the 4th beast is when the Lord's return is going to happen. Okay? So, verse 7 now. It reads, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. All right, the militaries of the military of the Roman Empire, all right, was far great than any of these kingdoms could handle. Okay, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the other beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Now, what does that mean? It was diverse from all the other kingdoms. All right, those other kingdoms had kings, princes. Things were handed down through your lineage. All right, there was a lot of history that goes, especially the wars of the Diadochi, that explains that all these lineages were fighting. Okay, but the Roman Empire, that's where the Senate came in. Okay, that's when they had 2 parts of government. They had the plebeians and patricians. In this day, the second leg of the Roman Empire, we have the Democrats and the Republicans. All right, that's what it means. It was diverse from the other beasts. Okay, and it had 10 horns. Now, since we're speaking of the Roman Empire back then, which it has 10 horns in this day, the second leg has 10 horns in this day, but back in the Roman Empire, all right, the 10 horns were 10 vassal states. All right, vassal states are powers that helped keep and prop up the power, which was the Roman Empire. All right, so vassal states back in this day, the 10 horns at the time of Rome were the Vandals, the Ostrogoths, the Alemanni, the Franks, the Visigoths, the Burgundians, the Lombards, Anglo-Saxons, the Suevi, and the Heruli. Okay, all right. The 10 horns today, though, would be the EU, which started as 10 nations. And yes, they have more nations today, but there are a 10 that started it all. Okay, Esau would try to throw more numbers in there. All right, but they're all still the same original 10. Okay, I mean, they all stem from the original 10. Okay, so where we at here in Daniel 7? All right. Now, this is important too, all right, to show that America is a part of this beast, okay? Daniel 7 and 8 says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came among them another little horn. All right, that's speaking of America. Now listen to this, if you can, okay? Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up. Okay? So America came before America, though, there was the French, the Spanish, and the British. All right, those horns, which were uh, powers also, were plucked up. All right, it says, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man. All right, the technologies, and a mouth speaking great things, still speaking blasphemy. Okay. 9, 10 verses not Daniel 7, 9, 10. This is speaking about 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These are all speaking about when the Lord returns and removes all these powers, man. Okay, but if you get down to 17, or when you get down to verse 17 of Daniel 7, or we'll do 16. All right, we'll start at 15. Daniel 7 and 15. It says, I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. All right, so Daniel was given this vision. He saw the beast, okay? But then he was told these beasts are four kings, which shall come out of the earth. All right, but then it goes on, man. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Which, all right, back here in Daniel 2 and 33, or is it 44? All right, Daniel 2 and 44. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. All right, speaking of the kingdom of heaven. Okay, in the midst of these four beasts, all right, with America being that little horn that we spoke of in the 8th verse of Daniel chapter 7. Okay, so let's see, when we go down here to 19. Daniel 7 and 19, it says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, speaking of America, and before whom 3 fell. We talked about that. The Spanish, the Spanish, British, French. All right. It says, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And if you look at everything that's going on here in America, all the boasting, bragging, proudful words that are coming out of this place, all right, you have that speech with Pete Hegseth with the Department of War, whatever he calls himself, the Secretary of War or some shit. And then Trump went on right after him. Then you have really everybody thinking that America cannot be put down, which, yes, no man is going to put America down. The Lord is saving this very prideful place for himself. He wants them at the top of their pride, man. They have to fill up their indignation, all right, their cup of indignation. And they're going to drink it. They're going to receive the wrath of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and it says this. Now listen to this, verse 21, Daniel 7 and 21. I beheld in the same horn which made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. All right. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and it shall tread it down and break in pieces. And this is what America has done. All right. We've almost been when I say we, I'm not joining to this, to what this place means in the scriptures. What I'm saying is this place, America, Babylon the Great, all right, has been a nation for almost 250 years. I think next year is going to be 250. All right, and I think it said something like we've been at war for all but 13. Let me see. Let's ask and see. How many years has America been a nation, and how many years has it been involved in war? I know this video went longer than what I thought. I try to keep this around a half hour because people's attention spans are really short, man. But that's all right. If you're looking at this, you need to remember where you pause the video at, come back to it, or whatever. But some of these videos, which mine are, I mean, none of these are made for entertainment. We don't make any of these videos for entertainment, although people watch them for entertainment. But you need to start paying attention to what's being told to you, man. Okay? Especially if you were Israelite. All right? Or if you think you might be an Israelite. Pay attention to what's being told to you here, man. Time is short. You need to seek the Lord and repent. All right? Because he's not coming back here happy, man. Not happy with everyone. All right? We pray that we're on the side where he calls us faithful, all right, servants, okay? So AI overview says the United States has been a nation for 249 years as of 2025. Having declared its independence on July 4th, 1776, the nation has been involved in war for most of its history, with estimates suggesting that the U.S. has been at war for 225 or more years out of its 214-year existence, or about 93% of time. So 225 to 249, what is that? 25, 24 years. Yeah, 24 years. That might be being generous right there also. Excuse me. That's let me see. A common statistic is that the United States has been at war for 225 out of its 243. So what is that? It's 18 years. We haven't been at war. All right. Why is that? Okay, you have to extrapolate what's being shown to you on the world stage. Who got blessed with the sword and the guns, the bombs, the missiles, all right, are the modern day sword. All right, who was blessed with that? Esau. Okay, so Rome was known for its iron teeth, its military. America is definitely known for its military, and also Alexander the Great. All right, he went through the earth just slicing shit, man. Okay, quickly. That dude was on a mission, man. All right, and all of these things, uh, all these beasts, all right, are on a mission because through prophecy. All right, this is how we can tell whom are who. We don't judge with just our ears or just our eyes alone. Okay, we look at the big picture. Okay, so let's see what else does Daniel 7 say really quick. Daniel 7 and 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a times, and the dividing of time. So time is 100 years. So times is 200 years. 200 is, and 100 is 300 years. And the dividing of time is 50 more years. All right, 350 years. Okay. And from the end of the Renaissance up until like the 1960s, mid 1960s, late 1960s, all right, when this truth started to be presented over here. Okay. Let me see. And then we started to have life breathed back into us. And you can read about that in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Okay. Ezekiel 37. But let me see here. I lost my spot in here. Okay, verse 26 of Daniel 7. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. All right, hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations or my deep thoughts, all right, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. All right. So there was something else that I wanted to visit here. I know it's in the Apocrypha. Art thou, art thou. Let me find this. And I know this video. Okay, let's go back, and I just want to look at this. Art thou beast. Let's see what comes up here. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. Why didn't beast come up? Hold on a second. Give me a minute here. Okay, we're gonna go in here to Second Esdras. Oh man, what do I want to read this out of? You know what? We'll do readings of this, Lord willing. I don't know. I just wanted to visit these few scriptures right here. Let me see. Mm, All right, where are we? All right, hold on. Hold on a quick second here. 11:39. Second Ezra is 11:39. All right, let me start here at 36. Second Ezra is 11, verse 36. Right, it reads, Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion, chased out of the wood, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Man, hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee. All right, this is what the message is to America, man. All right, this Edomite empire that's ruling right now. All right. It says, art now that it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearlessness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. All right, this has been going on for too long, man, or for just long enough. Okay, verse 41, it says, For the earth hast thou not judged with truth? For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Man, I just heard a video today where this same sentiment was being told. All right, the truth about this place, Babylon the Great, was being told, and they damn near said that without saying exactly those words that are here in Scripture. Anyway, verse 43 says, Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest has also looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. All right, this is what the Lord is waiting for, man, for your abominations to be fulfilled. And you steadily doing it every day, man. And therefore appeared no more and therefore, let me stop. Let me read that again. Verse 44, 2nd Ezra chapter 11, verse 44, the highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Now, this is making me think of the scripture here. Hold on a second. Is it Micah chapter 2? Micah 2. Woe to the oppressors. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. And this is what you do every day. All right, speaking to you Edomites. Your empire is almost this fourth beast. Your time is up. All right, it's about up, man. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, all right, Yahweh, Behold, against this family do I devise an evil from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. Okay? Man. All right, so let's go back here. Now let's go on to read 2nd Ezra 11 and 45. It says, And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers. All right, nothing else is coming behind you, man. All right, your wickedness is about to be wiped off the planet of the earth, man. Okay, it's about to be wiped away altogether. Again, 2nd Ezra, I gotta calm down. 2nd Ezra 11 and 45. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. And this is exactly what's coming, man. Judgment and the mercy of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. So that there was the reading of Daniel chapter 7, right? Minus a few verses in there that speak of what's going to happen upon the return of Yahweh Shai. Okay, it's not going to be pleasant for most people, right? For most people, it is not going to be a pleasant day. Even 2/3 of you Israelites that are here in America, because you refuse to listen. All right, but okay, I hope that came through as sincere and edifying. And with that, all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth, and these are where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. But before I go, I forgot to mention, Lord willing, all right, you will remember what these beasts are, and we'll go into Revelation, all right, where it speaks more so about these beasts and what's going to happen. All right, so again, shalom.